Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Fiction&Flora. You can call me Flora. It's not my actual name, but I'm playing a game on my Twitter. If you really want to know what's going on, head on over there. But anyway, you can call me Flora, and today I will finally be doing my wrap-up for August and July. Now, before you start judging me, I'm lazy, and to be fair, I tried to record my July wrap-up at the end of July, and my camera broke. Well, my camera didn't break. The battery died in the middle of recording it. And then I tried again, and for some reason, my SD card wasn't saving anything. So after the fourth time trying to record, I gave up on it last month, okay? I'm sorry. I know. Therefore, I'm super late with this video. That being said, it doesn't matter that much because I only read 2 books in August. So it's not like that would have been a very interesting video to watch anyways if I hadn't done this. So I'm combining these two. And I'm going to have to be looking at my Goodreads because, not going to lie, I forgot about a lot of them, okay? I forgot. I forgot. Stop judging me. But anyway, so I am going to start with August, since I only read 2 books in August, and then I'm just going to go back to July. If you only want to watch August, that's fine. I am not here to judge you about what you're going to do. But yeah, most of these were either ebooks or audiobooks that I read. So starting with August, the 2 books. Oh crap, it looks like, did I just not count one? It looks like I only read 1 book, but I swear I thought I read 2 books in August. Give me a second. I have to go back. I DNF'd a lot of books, though. Like, a lot. So, oh, wow. So, I lied. I read 1 book in August. I'm great. But I did DNF a few. I'll just tell you all the books I DNF'd, and why I DNF'd them, and then I'll tell you about that 1 book I read. Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. To be fair, I was in a very bad reading slump, so I DNF'd John Dies at the End, simply because I had checked it out for so long, but I was in the middle of doing reading rush at the time that I had checked it out, and I just didn't have time for it. So I DNF'd John Dies at the End. I also DNF'd Red Rising. I tried to read that at the beginning of August, but I'm going to be honest, I found it incredibly boring, and I couldn't get into it. So I decided to take it off. But I also recognized that I was in the middle of a reading slump, so I put it back into my to be read, and I'll try to get back to it, and then in a month where I'm feeling a little bit more reading friendly, I will go ahead and try again. I DNF'd What If It's Us because I realized I cannot, and I checked that one out from my Libby app as an audiobook, but I have realized I don't like contemporary romances, because I'm pretty sure this is a contemporary romance between 2 male characters. I can't tell you much more than that. There was a meet cute at the beginning, great. But I can't read specifically contemporary romances as audiobooks because I have really bad secondhand embarrassment, and it gets even worse when someone's talking about it to me, okay? So I'm on the waiting list to just get this as an ebook so I can just physically read it because I cannot listen to it as an audiobook. I tried again to read Black Leopard, Red Wolf. This time I got it as an audiobook. Still wasn't in the mood for it, so also DNF that. I am actually not quite, but just below 50% of the way through this book, and I need to finish it. I don't hate it. I'm just not interested in it, so it's taken a while. I tried to read Fangirl. Did not like it at all. Like, no. I tried to read Sleeping Giants, DNF'd it. But to be fair, again, I'm in the middle of a reading slump, so I put that one on my TBR back. Put that one back on my TBR to go back to it because maybe I'll be into it in like a month or 2. Okay. That's it. Oh no, I did read two. I just for some reason didn't show up in my Goodreads. I don't know why. What? Okay, fuck Goodreads. Honestly, whatever. Um, so the two books I read in August were Lost World, Jurassic Park #2, and Binti Home. Jurassic Park, The Lost World 2, I gave 4 stars. So I know not a lot of people like this. I read the reviews for it, and people were pissed that what's his face that Goldblum plays in the movies was back to life. They're like, oh my god, he died at the end. Meh, 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 meh. Also, Ian Malcolm, they were so mad that he apparently died at the end of Jurassic Park and he was back in this one. This is not a spoiler. He's at the beginning and it already tells you in the synopsis that it's about him. That being said, I didn't mind. I didn't care. Like, it's a book. I ain't hurt. Also, they left his fate kind of in the void. They were just like shook their head. They didn't know what happened to him. They didn't say specifically that he died. They didn't give us any in-story action about his death. So I'm willing to suspend my disbelief because I'm okay with this book. Now, the one thing, and I'm quoting directly from my Goodreads, that I did not like about this book was many of the characters had this insistence on making really dumb decisions, and that irritated me. And then Binti Home, again, a lot of people didn't really like it. I'm not sure why. I gave that one a 4 stars, even though it's not showing up on my feed, but whatever. I'm going to figure that one out. I guess I could put it back on my whatever. So I really enjoyed this one. I also listened to this as an audiobook. I really like how they build the world. And the way they do this is they don't sit down and give me 15 paragraphs about a single item. Instead, as the characters move through, the world just builds around them. They just expect you to pick this thing up real quick. And this is my preferred way of world building. I prefer if the author just assumes I have a brain and moves forward with this story. Right? Right. Okay. So I really enjoyed Binti. I'm really excited for the third book. Again, it's not going to be a ton of like in-depth world building. Don't expect conflicts to last very long. But it was good. Okay. That was the 2 books I read in August. I read wrong side. I read Binti and the Lost World from Jurassic Park series. So, those were really great. I enjoyed them both. I gave them both 4 stars. If that was all you wanted to watch, please feel free to exit stage left because this is going to take some time. I read 18 books in July. I completed 17, but I read 18 over 50%. So 1 book I DNF'd. I DNF'd a few, but that was the one I DNF'd at 50%. So, if you want to stick around, here we go on to the rest of those. Back to my Goodreads. Because it was over 2 months ago, so I definitely don't remember off the top of my head. And we're going to go from the beginning of the month all the way down. And I will also, at the end of the month is when I was doing the reading rush, so I'll tell you about each of those as well. Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This book I gave 4 stars, and it was amazing. I enjoyed it a lot. This is my first ever Blake Crouch, and I'm into it. I really like it. I am definitely looking forward to getting Recursion. Anyway, so Dark Matter is about this man who is kidnapped one day, and then he wakes up in a parallel universe. Again, not a spoiler, this is the beginning of the book. He wakes up in a parallel universe. And the rest of the story is basically him jumping universes to find his way home. And there are shenanigans and issues and danger. And it's really great. And the ending is all doozy. There's a lot going on, but I think it's worth watching. So, I say watching. I think it's really good. And I think it's really nice. And I heard that there is a TV show. There's a cinematic something based on it. And so I have to figure that one out, whether or not I'm going to watch it because I don't want to be too judgy about it. But it might be worth the time. But I do recommend, I highly recommend Dark Matter. The next one I read was Freshwater by Akeke Emezi. I'm sorry, I forgot the second K. Akeke Emezi. So this is about a girl who is born with what some may term personality, some may term having, depending on if you're looking on the in-universe versus out-of-universe. Out-of-universe, you definitely call, some people might consider it dissociative identity disorder, some might call it multiple personalities in like pop culture, but basically she is of multiple minds. And you watch as this develops, and then it's basically a coming of age story of how she comes to accept herself and her others. Please ignore my trash nails. I have not painted them recently. And my alarm. I'm a mess. I'm sorry. But anyway, so it's really about her discovering herself. I enjoyed it a lot. I actually read it because I was a part of a book club that hasn't met in a while, and that was the last book we agreed on before we stopped meeting. And 10 out of 10 would I recommend. I gave it a 4-star. It wasn't, nope, I gave it 3 stars. Sorry. Maybe I remembered it more fondly than I did at the time of reading it. But I do think it is a good book. I think it's very interesting. I think probably the reason I gave it 3 stars is because the way it's written is not my favorite thing. One, I'm not a big fan of first-person reads in any way, shape, or form. I'm not a fan of stream of consciousness. So, you know. And I don't like jumping between present and past. All these things were working against this book, but I still really enjoyed it. 3 stars is not bad in my book. It's just not, like, the best thing ever. But, like, I think it's a really good book, and I think a lot of people would enjoy it. I will let you know there is a trigger warning for self-harm and for sexual assault. So, if that is something that you are sensitive to, I would say be careful. Maybe be cautious as you're moving through the book. But either way, A+ for me. The next book I read was Feed from the News Flesh trilogy by Mira Grant, who I found out is a name for Shawnee McGuire. What? How excited. But anyway, I really enjoyed this. It follows a brother and sisters news team, podcast team, news team. They own a few different things, and they have thousands of people who work under them because they own their own company. And they're following the presidential election after the zombie apocalypse. So there's zombies all over the place, and they're traveling around it's a campaign trail. And you're following that, and and the zombies are really like an ever-present background danger, but they're not the real danger in this story. Really, there's like some political espionage going on. It's real cool. I liked it a lot. I really like the zombie story. I really did enjoy it. The ending hurt me. Like, I feel upset, but like in a good way. Yeah. I'm not planning to continue with this series because I'm very satisfied with the first one. Like, it was a good ending for me, and I enjoyed it, and that's good enough. I'm not planning to continue. But if you want to, I heard the next one's great. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. I gave it 4 stars. The next one I read was Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel, and this one I gave 3 stars. And here's the thing. I love a post-apocalypse. I love a slice of life. Something about this was incredibly boring for me. Like, it was a slog to get through. It was a lot. I was not enjoying my time when I first started it. Even like midway through, I was thinking of just dropping it. But I kept reading it. And so, like, I gave it a 3 because it wasn't the worst thing I've ever read, and I didn't think it was a horrible book. I just think it wasn't for me. But I did finish it, and I was satisfied with the end, and it did make me feel something, so I liked it. The beginning of it is so slow. The next one I read was Goodbye Things, the New Japanese Minimalism by Fumino Sasaki, and this one I gave a 3 star. And the reason I gave this one a 3 star is because I enjoyed his writing fine. The way it was interesting to watch his transition from having too much stuff to minimalism. But I think of it more as his personal philosophy on minimalism than anything else. The next book I read, which is a new favorite, is Saturn by John Sanford and Satine Seaton. I don't know how to pronounce this name. They do not give me a pronunciation guide back here. So I don't know. But this book right here, I actually read it as an audiobook. But I was at the bookstore a few weeks ago. I found the physical copy of it and I had to buy it. I gave this a 5 out of 5 star. It was amazing. I love this. How do I describe it? Okay, so first let me tell you the premise and then I'll tell you why I love this book. So the premise, let's hold it this way. The premise of this book, where's the sunlight? The premise of this book is that one day scientists on Earth realize there's something moving through our solar system towards Saturn. And they realize it's not an asteroid because it's decelerating, and it stops and reverses, and they're like, is that aliens? Oh my god, aliens! So, of course, being humans, they decide that, hey, we need to go check this out. What if they're a threat to us? Because even though these people have obviously had space travel for millions of years, if they can travel this far into our solar system without us noticing them, suddenly they're going to care about us. Whatever. But anyway, it is just told through multiple perspectives, and it is literally the journey is the majority of this book. The journey, just to get out to Saturn's rings, to discover what it was that they find there. There is some political plots involved, but they're not so much that it like distracts from the story. And what I really liked is that this, while focusing on while this had a good plot to it, it also focused on interpersonal relationships. Ooh, my nails are trash. It's focused on a lot of interpersonal relationships, friendships that were built. There was like one romance that was built. It really talked about how people who are traveling in isolation with had to deal with the stress because this is like a 3-year journey. And so I really enjoyed all that. The romance in here was beautiful. Like, I am not a fan of romance in books because I feel like oftentimes, especially in sci-fi and fantasy, it takes over the plot and then I'm angry because I came here for an adventure and what I got was a freaking romance. If I want romance, I'll read a romance book, okay? Sorry. Anyway, but the romance here was amazing. It was delightful. It was like each character in that romance were characters in and of their own right, with their own individual thoughts and personalities. Like, they were built up as individual characters before they got into a romance. And even while they're in that relationship, it worked because both their personalities were fully shown as they were trying to work out the ins and outs of this. Look, I love this book. I love this book. Read it. Love it like I do. This side of the screen. Read it. Love it. I'm never going to get over how much I love this book. The next book I read is called Fiend. And I DNF'd this at 50%, and I will read you word for word. Oh, it was by Peter Stenson. I will read you word for word my review of it. DNF'd at 50%. I tried to finish this, I really did, but I am so bored that it's not worth the effort. This book was boring and repetitive, and I swear if I ever hear another sentence about KK, I'm going to punch someone in the face. So, this book is about drug addicts surviving zombie apocalypse, which sounds interesting, which should be amazing to read. Somehow, this author made what could have been an amazing story. I hate this book. I hate it so much. And I love zombie books. I love the most ridiculous of zombie books. This was just a bad book. Also, one of the things that really irritated me about this book, not counting how boring it is, was that the main character, who cares about his name, is obsessed with his ex-girlfriend KK. And from the get-go of the book, every other sentence is, I wonder what KK's doing. KK did this, and KK did that, and KK. Screw KK. KK don't want you. Know why? Because KK moved on half a year ago. You should too. Stop calling her. Stop looking at her creepily while she's getting dressed. Stop it. It's gross. I don't like it. Read it, but you know what? You read it, make your own opinion. Maybe I'm looking too deep into it. Maybe my dislike of romance is taking over plots is really showing. Maybe. I hate it. The next book, sorry, I really did not like it. This book I read was Matilda by Roald Dahl. By Roald Dahl. And I gave it a 4-star. And I decided to read it because I was remembering that I really, really loved Matilda, the movie, when I was younger. And I was like, oh yeah, this was based on a book. I should read it. And so I did. The principal is significantly worse in the book than she is in the movie. Or maybe my childhood memories just aren't, that sharp, which perfectly valid. But it was a lot. It was. Also, her parents are significantly worse. Everyone in this book, including Matilda herself, are significantly more annoying in this book. I enjoyed the book a lot. I know it seems like I didn't. I did enjoy the book. I just didn't find any of the characters likable in any way, shape, or form. Next few books are getting into The Reading Rush, which I didn't do a wrap-up for, so. Stop judging me. Anyway. So the first book I read was for the Read a Book with Purple on the cover, and I read Holes. And again, characters were much more annoying than I remember them being the first time I read this, or in the movie, but I still liked it. This one, of course, is by Louis Sachar, and I gave it a 4-star. I seem to have a really good reading month in July, so probably why August was such trash. But yeah, no, I gave it a 4-star. I did enjoy the book, and got my nostalgia going. There was a lot of throwing around of racial things that don't really interest me because been there, done that, lived it, great. But I was able to just put that on the back burner for myself because it wasn't at the forefront. The next book I read was The Little Book of Hygge, The Danish Way to Live Life by Meek Viking. I think I pronounced that right. Don't quote me on it. And this was for the challenge, read a book with 5 or more words in the title. As you can tell, that has quite a few. And this was a book trying to explain to foreigners the Danish concept of hygge. Now, I do not think that you can understand a cultural concept through a book. So, I'm not going to bash this book because it was not able to explain it. I don't think that is something that can be explained. There are things you can relate it to and say it's very similar to this, it's very similar to that. But I think when it comes to cultural concepts that you grow up with, unless you have gone and experienced the culture at its depth and lived it, it's impossible to understand. That being said, the way it was written and the examples used were not the best as far as describing hygge, but I still think it's a worthwhile book to read. It was pretty enjoyable. I gave it a 3-star. The next book I read was to satisfy the challenge of read an author's debut novel. And the one I chose was You're Never Weird on the Internet by Felicia Day. It is an autobiography, and I gave it 4 stars. I really related to a lot of things that Felicia was saying about her journey as she came into her own, and how she found her niche, her spot on the internet, and how she worked through her anxiety and how she learned how to ask for help. I would really encourage you to read it. She's coming out with another book. I really enjoy everything all of her work. I've yet to read or see anything from her that I didn't enjoy, and this is another one. Like I said, I really related to it, and it really hit me where it hurts. So do it. The next book I read was The Wild Robot #1, and My review of it just says, I'm not crying, I've just got allergies. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. And it was beautiful. I love this book. It is a middle grade book about and this satisfied the challenge, I don't know if to say it, this satisfies the challenge of a non-human main character. We're following a robot, and she ends up stranded on an island, and it's about her finding her place, discovering herself, finding family, finding friends. I love found families. And I love survival stories, and I love, just self-discovery and and she's not really coming of age because the way things are. But I just think that this is an amazing story. If and when I get my own tiny people, I'm definitely going to have this in my repertoire of books to read to them. It's so good. So good. Like, if you have tiny people, read this to them. I think it's so cute. Obviously, I would say read it yourself before you read it to them because you know what you allow in your own home. Also, there are some things that if you haven't talked with your children about the concept of death yet, that's something that this book does bring up, as well as prejudice. So I would definitely go ahead and read it first, but I think it's really good, and I think it's a really good book to read with children as far as teaching them or helping further explain these kinds of concepts. So, and then the next book I read was The Martian by Andy Weir, my other favorite book. This is just a reread. I reread this for the reading rush because it satisfied the challenge of reading a book with a movie and watch the adaptation. I can't speak. I really enjoyed this book. You already know I love this book. It's one of my favorites. I still have 5 stars for it. The movie I think was a good movie. I think it was a good movie. I think it was a mediocre to subpar adaptation. And the reason for it is it's not that they took out specific scenes or anything like that. The reason that I feel this way is because the tone of the movie was very significantly different than the book. The book really gives you humor but makes you sit on the edge of your seat. It really gives you that suspense. It really makes you tense with worry. And the movie went in a very Hollywood way, as you would expect, and it focused a lot on, oh, he's gonna be fine. The way they were presented were different. Like, I would have taken lack of scenes without, as long as things match. Also, I didn't like the ending of the movie. I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but I don't feel like it was necessary for them to change that one bit. Like, why? Either way. The next book I read was Odd Thomas, and I was satisfied the read a book that you planned to read last year. I was interested in Odd Thomas because I watched the movie Odd Thomas before I ever knew there was a book, and then I found out there was a book, and not only is there a book, there's a book series. So I wanted to know about it. And I gave it 4 stars, and I really enjoyed it. It follows a kid, guy, adult, whatever. Follows a dude who can see ghosts, and he uses this to protect his little tiny town that he lives in. But one day, someone's sketch comes into the town, and he's really concerned because it brings along all these things called bodaks, and they're a pretty good indicator of bad things to come. So he's like, So basically, you're following him as he investigates what they might be there for, how things are going to go down, and then trying to prevent the situation. So, the ending hurts. I already knew what the ending was. I'd watched the movie, but that ending hurt me. Like, I was not okay. But it was so good, but I was not okay. Also, the romance in it is very cute because it's pre-established, which I love a pre-established relationship in a book. It's one of my favorite kinds of relationships to have in a book. Pre-established, I'm not here for this getting together. Show me how you deal with things once you aren't there. But anyway, it's very sweet. It's very cute. They're childhood friends. I love it. But yeah, so read it. I think you would like it, and then you can go ahead and watch the movie. Next book I reread the Welcome to Night Vale novel because I felt like it. But the first time I read this, I read just the book by itself. And then this time I decided to listen to the audiobook because Cecil Baldwin's voice is everything. Oh my god, it's so much better read by Cecil. Okay, I'm not trying to be that person. I'm just saying, if you're gonna read it, definitely do because I love it. But like it's one of my let me try speaking again. It is one of my favorite books. I'm obviously very biased because I love the podcast, but I'm sorry, I'm not gonna go back on that. But Welcome to Night Vale novel, it's great, especially if you listen to the audiobook, because you really do get the atmosphere. They give you that background noise. They give you build up. It's really nice. I enjoyed it a lot. The next book I read, am I done yet? The next book I read was Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King. This one I read half as an audiobook, half as a physical book, because I ended up buying this at the same time I bought this one. That I bought Saturn Run. Where to go here? I enjoy this. I'm gonna read. This is the first in the Jeff Hodges. Is it Jeff? Bill Hodges. I don't know where Jeff came from. In the Bill Hodges trilogy. The next one is on my list of things to read. I got this cute little mass market paperback. It's so adorable. But this follows a retired detective as he tries to solve the mystery behind a spree killer murderer. And the reason I really enjoyed this one is that it's a mystery that's not a mystery. And as you will find out in my September wrap-up, I have come to accept that I fucking hate mysteries and thrillers. But this is a mystery without the mystery, because we know who the killer is from the get-go. We know his motivations, we know his every step as he goes through, but the characters don't. It's very similar to how in Criminal Minds, you'll be following the main team, you'll be following the murderer. And you are aware of both, but it's still exciting because you're aware of both, but you're trying to see how they interact with each other. I love omniscient perspective, okay? I'm sorry, not gonna lie. So I really enjoyed this. The reason it did not get 5 stars is because Stephen King's description of women is unnecessary. Yeah, the romance in this book irritated me. Like, every time I skimmed past that, I didn't need to know anything about this woman's breast, okay? I don't care. I love boobs. They're great. I have them. I like other people's. They're beautiful. They're great to lay on. I didn't need to hear about it in this book. Also, I just felt like it was a really quick change in the tone of story while she was there, and I understand why it was put in. Just don't care that it was put in. I didn't want it. I didn't like it. It didn't add much. Like, it added to the story, just not. It was there, okay? I was fine with the ending. I should have read the series before I read The Outsider, because I already know how this trilogy is going to end, but, whatever. I don't care about spoilers. Spoilers don't hurt me. I know some people are unhappy about spoilers. I'm a big fan of spoilers. I'm like, spoil the fuck out of me, so, I enjoyed this. The next, I'm almost done, I promise. My jaw's getting tired, and I'm almost done. I think there's only 2 more. There's 2 more. The next book I read was The Wild Robot Escapes, which is the second in the duology of the Wild Robot series, and I gave that one 4 stars. It wasn't a 5-star because, to be honest, it just wasn't as good as the first one. That's fine. I did enjoy it. I still think it's an amazing book, and I think it's a great series to read to kids. I'm definitely planning to get one for one of my younger cousins one of these days, because I plan to be the best aunt possible. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I encourage you to read it. I can't tell you anything about it, because if I tell you about it, I'll spoil the ending for the first one, so read it. read the series. And then the last book I read in July, and the end of this video that is just taking forever. I'm gonna have to trim this down. Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. And I read this on audiobook, and Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson himself read it to me. I enjoyed it. I didn't understand most of it because I'm not scientifically inclined, is the nicest way to put it. I really enjoyed this book. I encourage you to read it. If you are someone who is scientifically inclined, you'll probably like it a little bit more than me because I, again, didn't understand most of what I was listening to. But I gave it 4 stars. I was really sad when he kept insisting that Pluto was not a planet, even though it's scientifically accurate. My feelings are hurt. Okay? Mr. deGrasse Tyson? Is DeGrasse his middle name? Does he have 2 last names? I don't know. But it hurt. Because Pluto will always be a planet in my heart. Give love to Pluto. Sorry, this has been a long video and my jaw is tired and I still have another one to film today. Maybe. We'll see. Because this took forever. But thank you for sitting around to the end because I know this was long as hell. I do appreciate your time and I hope you have a wonderful day. If you want to interact with me, you can find me on Twitter pretty much all the time. And if you are interested in anything that I'm reading, go ahead and follow me on my Goodreads, which will be in the description down below. I'm going to try and actually upload to my Instagram more often, so please also feel free to go ahead and look down there. Please subscribe and click that like button. Also, hit the bell because it'll give you notifications if and when I upload. And considering how very little I upload, you won't be bombarded. Like, I'm great. I'm great. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!